Week 45. Day 309, on the matters of right and wrong. Right is right even if no one is doing it, wrong is wrong even if everyone is doing it. Augustine of Hippo. More than 70% of U.S. adults age 20 and over are overweight or obese. Does that mean that it's right to be obese? On average, American adults are watching 5 hours and 4 minutes of television per day. Does that mean that it's right to spend a third of your waking hours and well over a half of your leisure hours watching TV? If you're after self-improvement, you need to acknowledge that the right thing is right even when few people are doing it, and that no matter how many people are doing the wrong thing, it's still wrong. Don't comfort yourself by saying that your negative habits aren't that negative because so many people engage in them. Even if everybody exhibits such behaviors, it doesn't make them right. Have the courage and self-discipline to resist the temptation to compare yourself to the majority. Instead, if you must compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to the people you want to emulate, even if there are but a speck in an infinite crowd of people who don't care in the slightest about becoming better. Day 310, on having good private teachers. From my great-grandfather, I learned not to have frequented public schools, and to have had good teachers at home, and to know that on such things a man should spend liberally. Marcus Aurelius. Here's one of the ultimate shortcuts for success. If you want to learn something or achieve a goal more quickly, find a good private teacher to guide you. Spend your money eagerly on one-on-one instruction, because expanding your knowledge and experience, unlike many other investments, is a surefire way to get a positive return. Group classes are extremely ineffective teaching tools because the teacher's attention is spread over too many students. If you have an hour-long class with a teacher and there are 9 other students, on average you only get 10 minutes of the teacher's attention. Even if the teacher's fee for a private class is 5 times higher, it's still cheaper than a group class, considering how much more you'll learn. Consider hiring a coach for any important endeavors or to kickstart a new change. For example, you can hire a nutrition expert to develop a meal plan for you or a fitness coach to design a workout plan for you. You don't necessarily have to keep paying them forever. The initial help can be sufficient to get you started, and then all you have to do is continue to practice what you learned from them, until your needs change. One additional benefit of hiring a private coach is that once you start paying to get professional help, you'll start taking your objectives more seriously. It's easier to back out if there's nobody to whom you need to give an explanation as to why you want to give up. Day 311, on setting an example. Example has more followers than reason. Christian Nestelbovy. Does it bother you that people laugh at your efforts, wonder why you're deliberately making your life so difficult, or feel otherwise puzzled about your recent efforts at making positive changes in your life? Save your time and energy trying to reason with them, it won't work. Instead, focus on your goals and set an example. Soon, when you achieve some results, people will start following your example, understand why you're doing what you're doing, or at least shut up. For example, people criticized me when I was on my diet, saying that I was already skinny and shouldn't lose more weight. However, I knew that I had to drop some additional pounds to uncover more muscle definition. Once I reached that goal and my muscles became more visible, it became clear that I had been right from the get-go. No amount of reasoning will make people change their minds in the same way as an example standing right in front of them. Similarly, don't try to persuade people to implement positive changes in their lives just because that's what you're doing. Leave them be, and if they notice your results, some will probably ask you for advice and try to achieve the same results themselves. Again, it's about setting the example, not expending empty words. Day 312, on learning without a desire to learn. Just as eating contrary to the inclination is injurious to the health, studying without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. Leonardo da Vinci. You can learn almost anything you want as long as you have a desire to learn. Without a good reason why you want to learn something, or worse, being forced to learn it with no interest whatsoever on your part, as is often the case with college students, you'll retain little of what you learn. The reason is simple: the human brain needs to be picky about what it remembers and what doesn't, so if you consider a fly on the wall as more exciting than the subject of your study, you'll be more likely to remember the fly's position during the entire hour of the class than the topic of your lesson. For example, I once took a few Russian classes to prepare myself for a trip to Kyrgyzstan, a rugged mountainous country in Central Asia. However, unlike with Spanish, a language I speak fluently and am fond of, I couldn't develop an interest in Russian. My classes weren't particularly effective because, deep down, I had little desire to learn that language. There was no positive emotional connection with it. That's why I so strongly emphasize that each endeavor, including the goal of learning a new skill, needs to start with a strong desire. If you don't have that, you'll be fighting an uphill battle. If you're forced to learn something and are struggling, try to find something interesting about the subject. For example, you might find that Russian grammar is not particularly interesting, but perhaps trying to improve your accent in it is fun for you. You can also use educational resources that teach in an entertaining way. YouTube videos can be a good source for that. When it comes to learning languages, I'm a big fan of watching TV series that are broadcast in that same language. If you still can't find anything exciting in learning the topic itself, turn toward the reward it offers you, such as a promotion at work or being able to graduate from your learning program, and use that, the reward, as your sole motivation. Be careful, though, extrinsic motivators are weak motivators, and it's always better to combine them with internal rewards, like the enjoyment you get from learning or from the challenge it poses for you. Day 313, on what you demand from life. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. Napoleon Hill. It all comes down to what you demand from life. Accept nothing less than abundance and prosperity, and if you combine it with diligent work, you'll eventually get it. Tolerate misery and poverty, come up with rationalizations about why you're miserable, and bad fortune will stay in your life. It's important to understand that it takes virtually the same amount of effort to come up with excuses as it is to find reasons why you can accomplish something. You can direct your energy either way, but only one of them leads to success. The next time you catch yourself thinking that you're destined to be unsuccessful and that you should accept your bad fortune, change your thoughts. Remind yourself about how dissatisfied you are with your current circumstances and come up with reasons why you will be successful instead of continuing as you are. For example, while I was trying to build a successful business and failed one time after another, I still kept reminding myself that I would never tolerate being an employee. Nothing would have stopped me from making my goal come true. I would never accept anything else than abundance and prosperity. They may sound trite, but some self-help bromides are actually true. Your attitude and expectations do impact your life in a big way. Day 314, on neatness. People exert less self-control after seeing a messy desk than after seeing a clean desk. Roy Baumeister. Here's an easy self-discipline hack for today. Clean your immediate surroundings and benefit from improved self-control. A messy desk, and the unpleasant thought in the back of your head reminding you that eventually you'll have to clean it, occupies precious mental space you could otherwise spend on something more useful. Chaotic immediate environments are also distracting, and thus lower your productivity. In addition to taking up both physical and mental space, clutter can also affect how you feel about yourself. People feel better when they take a shower, shave their faces, put on makeup or perform any other grooming habit, and they feel worse when their appearance is not up to their standards. A messy room has a similar effect. It indicates that the person working there isn't organized or lacks the self-discipline to keep it tidy. Keeping your room neat and tidy demonstrates in a physical way that you are organized and self-disciplined, and that will subsequently affect your inner world, too, just like dressing for success gives a small boost to one's confidence. Day 315, on the cost of education and ignorance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Ann Landers. One of the worst excuses you can use to rationalize that you can educate yourself is to say that you don't have the money needed to do so. For one, ignorance is more expensive than education. One valuable piece of advice from a book can recoup its price 1,000 times or more, while committing one big mistake, that educating yourself might have prevented, can lead to devastating losses. A person who has never taken the time to learn how to eat healthily, something a $15 book can rectify, can ultimately pay for it with their life, while a person new to fitness may pay for their ignorance with a painful injury, something they could have prevented by watching a few free videos on proper form. Second, in today's world, education is available freely to anyone who has access to the internet. While a private teacher can help you immensely, you can also learn a lot, on your own, from free videos, tutorials, articles, and books. For example, I taught myself how to write. I've never taken any formal courses, yet I'm now a best-selling author. How to create and modify websites. I'm not a programmer, yet I can design a professional website, using available resources, or how to promote my books, even though I don't have a degree in marketing. It's important to escape the paradigm of education equals a college degree. You aren't educated merely because a piece of a paper says so. In fact, it's often the opposite. Many students treat college as an extension of their childhood instead of an opportunity to learn and gain experience. Meanwhile, those who skip going to college often gain valuable, real-world experience that they can build upon. When hiring contractors to help me in my business, I never look at their formal education. All I care about is their reviews, portfolio, and proposals specifying how they can help me. It's what they can specifically do for me that counts, not mere words that may or may not confirm that they're educated. If you aren't sure where to find high-quality education online for free or for a low price, check out Udemy, Coursera, Khan Academy, Stanford Online, Harvard Extension, Open Yale Courses, Code Academy, or simply look for the topic that interests you on YouTube, Amazon or in the iTunes Store.